Welcome to Workstyle Stories, because life changes and every life is different. Work needs to respect that. This week, we're talking about sleep and the importance of working and fitting your work around your sleep pattern and how everybody has a slightly different one. We're also talking about the impact of that on creativity and on working independence, being self-employed and creating the work style that works for you. And here to talk about that is the wonderful Auws. Hello, Auws.
Hi, is it this way?
Yeah, that's the one. Hello.
Hey.
Nice. It's good to meet you, Auws. Before we get into your story, would you mind just telling everybody a little bit about who you are, where you are, and what you do?
Sure. My name is Auws, and I live in London, in Kilburn to be more specific, which is northwest London.
Yeah.
I own a production company, and I have it for just over 3 years and a half, maybe now. And we mainly work on social media ads, whether it be video or photography. And then recently, we've also been doing a lot of branding.
Fantastic. Well done. So you've run your own company for somewhere between 3 and 4 years. And what was it that kind of prompted you to start that company? Was it, something that you'd done a load of work, built up clients and then started it? Was there a moment when you just thought, I'm going to do this by myself? What was what was life like, I guess, just before you started that company, and what was the trigger?
My whole life, I just was not happy with the system, if you will.
Okay.
But I can
relate to that.
I chalk that up to maybe being just a teenager. No one maybe likes to wake up early in the morning as a teenager, right?
Yeah.
Turns out that wasn't the case. It just stuck around, and I didn't enjoy it all the way throughout my life, even until I got a job that also forced me to wake up, at fairly early hours. I was just fatigued all the time. Beyond that point, I felt like there wasn't much that I could improve in within that job. I had it, pretty much figured out to get the job done. So I felt like I hit a wall.
So you've got fed up of the system, and you talk about early starts. So you're someone who likes to lie in, or in fact, now let me rephrase that: someone who goes to bed late and wakes up later. And historically, you'd perhaps put that down to being a teenager, but actually, that kind of carried on through university and post-university into your first work. And there was actually some tension then between the work you were doing and the fact that you were having to kind of compromise your sleep pattern to do it. So is that how it kind of played out? And do you still sleep late? Just so that I understand your kind of daily routine. Yeah.
I just, beyond working at the same time as most of the world works, there is not much benefit to waking up in the morning, right? For myself, at least.
Yeah. That's really interesting. And everyone's different. And we always say how the 9 to 5 system, just a one size fits all system, doesn't fit everyone, and it never can. But we've never talked about it in terms of sleep before. And I know that there is some science around how everybody has kind of different rhythms and different body clocks that mean that they are more productive at different times of day. And that, there's a real argument there for Workstyle in that sense, in terms of unlocking productivity. And I guess a part of that is the other side, which is rest, and when you're resting, when you're able to rest, and that is also something that needs to be tailored to the individual. So you like going to bed late. That's when you're, and actually presumably you work in the evenings better then as a result, but couldn't do that in a traditional 9 to 5 type job.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I do most of my work in the evenings. I ramp up. I start very slow and I speed up as the later it gets, essentially.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so so at some point then you said, enough's enough. I'm gonna start my own thing. And by starting my own thing, I'm going to be able to work when it suits me. Was there a moment when you just made that decision? Had something happened? Was there a catalyst, a trigger point? Someone kind of, or was it just a kind of something that you just got to over time?
I feel like starting your own business or doing something that seems wildly ambitious is always the thing that we always kind of look at, like that's something I would like to do, that's something that I will do, that's something that I will get to eventually. And I guess one day I was like, when, right? And I picked up the phone and I called up the 2 mates of mine who I used to create all this content with, and I said, hey guys, remember I kind of spoke about this production company idea. What do you think? Do you want to go ahead with it? And they were both on board, and we kicked it off. Shortly after that, I quit my job and went for it.
So you obviously you weren't enjoying the job and the way that the tension between that and your energy and being able to sleep. You obviously had in the back of your mind that you wanted to set something up at some point. You had this kind of underlying belief that you would do that one day. But you also, the nature of your work and the type of person that you are as a highly creative person, I guess means that there is, if you're working in an uncomfortable manner, that's going to prohibit your creativity as well, right? So to what extent do you think that was part of your decision? Like, were you also just kind of trying to scratch a creative itch? Or
yeah,
what was your kind of, what do you think was your sort of, how did that kind of play out, do you think, in your head? Thought about that?
Most definitely, if I'm not arrested, then it's going to prohibit let alone, like, yes, definitely my creativity, but also just my coherent thinking and, being able to do anything properly.
Yeah. Sorry. So what's your Workstyle like now? So you started your company, it's nearly 4 years old, let's say. So how have things changed for you now, having taken control of your Workstyle versus how they were?
I think it's up to us, the business owners, to kind of tell our clients how we like to work. And so I'm very much results driven, and it's all about that. I don't think, quite frankly, I've learned that I don't think the client cares what time you wake up, what time you go to sleep. They care about you creating good work, right?
Yeah.
And if we have to have the meetings in the afternoons, it's not the end of the world.
I think that's really true, and something that the kind of employer-employee relationship could really learn from, which is, the employer is the client, the employee is the company or the freelancer, and that kind of relationship is so much more professional, so much more productive, to be judging people on output, on what they do, and not on when or where they're doing it. And hopefully that's something that's worked well for you. You're now able to work presumably late into the night and sleep when your body tells you it wants to sleep, and that's making you happier, better, more productive. Would you ever go back to a traditional job, Auws?
I can't imagine myself doing that right now, honestly. No.
Neither can I. Thank you very much for sharing your Workstyle story with us, Auws. We've been Workstyle Stories, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.